right, well, I guess there's no better time but now. Welcome to the channel, Mixed Martial Aficionado. Feel free to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this sort of content. But let's get into it. Today is a little bit heavy-hearted, um, and it's prompting a little about me section, I guess, that I've been putting off. But anyways, here we go. So my first introductions to mixed martial arts in general were through my stepdad. Not a traditional stepdad situation. This was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to my family. Um, Amazing guy. Couldn't have asked for a better companion for my mother. That aside, um, he got into martial arts, jiu-jitsu, in his, I think, mid 20s, but he got really good really fast. He trained under guys like Whether Gracie, Gene Dunn, David Adeve, bumped shoulders with dudes like Carlos Newton, just casually at grappling tournaments, just met some pretty high profile figures in the sport um, through him very young, probably 12, 13 years old. Um, Oof. But anyways, he went on to train people who had some pretty significant accomplishments in the sport. Um, he coached Alexis Davis over her win against Amanda Nunes back in Strikeforce, but he was also working on he was also coaching, bringing up a fighter named Brian Augustin. His Sherdog page doesn't have a picture, but he has some pretty solid amateur fights. Um, this fight, he got a KO in the co-main, higher up in the card than fucking Patchy Mix. He could have been something, but Brian ended up getting uh, caught up in some stuff, you know, as some folks do. Maybe disproportionately so towards folks that are drawn towards fighting as a career. But I woke up to a message from my parents this morning that we lost them. So, man. Kid's kid could have definitely been something. He was a definite featherweight contender. But his extracurriculars kept him from kept him from doing something special. But he could have. He could have. But anyways, we'll try to move on from this. I might need to take a second, but we'll be right back. But to end that unfortunate segment, Brian, you'll be missed. Um, would have would have loved to see you compete against the best that there is out there today. Um, man, he would he would have put up a fight against some of those featherweights. Let me tell you. But oof. Let's move on. So we had an equally depressing weekend in the UFC. If you're a Volkanovski fan, of course, um, it was a pretty crazy event from start to finish. A lot of controversy surrounding the ringside physician, particularly some other decisions made by the refs, and apparently everyone had staff, so that's cool. So we'll start off at the top. Bruno Silva and Sharbutin, not Nurmagomedov, but just Magomedov, um, the one-eyed ginger monster, um, with no takedown defense. Um, obviously, we remember old Shara from stomping Buddy's face in outside of that mall when he kissed his girlfriend in front of him. Not ideal. But he gets a decision win. I mean, rightfully so, I guess. Even though he was on his back, majority of those 3 rounds, um, man, he was definitely attacking. So there's that. Can he fight outside of the UAE Russia area, yet to be determined. We'll go over that along with some other fighters on the card and their issues. um, Next, Victoria Dudikova and Jinyu Fry. Um, this fight sort of went how we expected. I mean, I did call that Victoria looked like shit in both the um, official and ceremonial weigh-ins, and turns out she had staph. So, I mean, on her ass apparently. uh, Thanks to Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell for that information. I don't know if I would have learned that otherwise, but something of the sort from what I derived from their show anyway. Um, but yeah, they had a weird fight. There was a clash of heads that really dazed Fry, and I feel like that's sort of where the tables turned. Seemed like she was actually having some success before that. Um, but yeah, super unfortunate, and Dudikova ends up winning by decision, unanimously. Um, Clash of Heads definitely playing a huge factor in that, but we move on. Another weird one. I mean, there were all kind of weird ones on the prelims, but Nathaniel Wood and Muhammad Naimov, just like repeated fouls and just like kicks to the nuts and fence grabs. It was a free for all in there. Nathaniel Wood coming in at a 3-1 favorite and losing. I'm not gonna lie, I did have Naimov on one of my parlays and had a pretty healthy cash out at this point, but I figured, Jubilee's gonna get it done. And I didn't take the cash out. Little did I know, the man is deathly afraid of dogs. And Mike Breeden fucking anamorphed himself into a fucking pit bull uh, midway through the second round. What a weird fight. Um, Jubilee seemed like he was having some real success in the first round. Mike Breeden, another um, fighter that came in on the card with staff and also like a fucking already split up eyebrow. What are you doing, my brother? Um, but yeah, uh, Jubilee crumbled the moment Breeden started barking at him, which was super weird to watch. Just like, yeah, not much to say there. But Jubilee stopped throwing. He stopped throwing punches, and when he did throw punches, he wasn't connecting with those punches. So really, really weird. Unfortunate. Obviously, a prospect, one of the only prospects out of India, but he gets toasted by our dog Mike Breeden. My my good God, how strange was that? Um, Anyways, another sort of weird one. Zaitar just like pulling hair and doing whatever he can to get the dub. Have you ever seen a man with a thicker fucking upper torso though? Like my good God. At weigh-ins, it was the craziest thing to behold. Um, like the man's chest is like 70 inches, and his waist is probably like a 30. It's insane. But anyways, um, he pulled some hair, and he didn't win. Cedriquez Dumas gets the decision win in that one. And then we move on to another weird one. Javid Basharat and Victor Henry, like you know, another kick goes low. Um, this one being a no contest, and the ringside physician being like, "Hey, Victor, it didn't hit you in the nuts. It didn't hit you low. Like, who the fuck is that guy to make that call? First of all, like, that's not your just jurisdiction, my friend. Please, please recognize that. I sincerely hope that without some serious re-education, that guy is never a ringside physician at another UFC event. You know, obviously, them choosing him as the ringside physician is going to come back to haunt them a little bit later on. But next we had Muhammad Yahya and Trevor Peak. Um, in my opinion, not a super highly skilled fight. Not something that really drew me in at any capacity. But Trevor Peak, much like Mike Breeden, got that dog in him. Perfectly fucking squared head. Just like insanity. But yeah, the dude can he can give a punch and he can take a punch. Um, Notably better than Muhammad Yahya. So Trevor Peak gets the win there. Next, Mokaev and Tim Elliott. Um, Another sort of weird one, but Mokaev ends up getting it done. Not without facing adversity, of course. We knew Tim Elliott was going to be a dog coming in, and that he was. But next we move on to Saeed Nurmagomedov and Ween Gafarov. I mean, like, I had some serious confidence in Gafarov to at least put up a little bit of a fight. Like the odds were barely favoring Saeed. I mean, he was almost a 2-1 favorite, but I mean, plus 145 on Gafarov. That's not, you know, that's not a retirement bet there. Um, and plus, I'm almost always gonna bet on the fighter whose last name ends in Ov or Ev. Um, and like Gafarov coming in there with that that strange little back patch of hair that he has there. Like if you don't care about that, if that's something that you're just okay with, there's a good chance that you're concentrating on fighting, you know, rather than the other F word. But I mean, yeah, back patch gets guillotined or whatever you want to call it, going in for a takedown in the first round. And then next we had, of course, Ikram Aliskerov, whose only defeat was to Hamzat Chimaev back. I mean, who really cares when that was? His only knockout or his only losses by knockout to Hamzat Chimaev. Um, and he put up a good fight. leading up into that point. But he fights the old dog Worley Alves. Looking into Worley's record, you'll see that he has a win over Colby. Um, he fought Usman to decision back in the Dizzy, but he's an old dude. He's an old dude now fighting a scary Russian boy. And I mean, rightfully so. I think Aliskerov was like a minus 600 favorite or something, but he gets that shit done. Then we had Ankalaev and Johnny Walker. Huh. So weird. Um, it's a hard one to call without knowing Johnny Walker as a person, because from afar, he looked like he was pretty confused. Um, but also asking a non-English as a first language speaker what country he's in, which is like somewhat unclear when you're in the UAE. Um, like I don't know what the fuck the countries are there. Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, are those even countries? Who knows? But um, Johnny Walker didn't know. He said he's in the desert. And the doctor said, no, we can't finish this. We can't keep going. Albeit, Uncle Ive did hit him with a blatant, debatably intentional foul. So, another no contest on the fight. Another weird call involving that ringside physician. Huh. In the co-main, Usman and Chimaev fought. Pretty back and forth fight. Chimaev clearly winning the first round. The second round, things started to even out, and in the third round, I feel like Usman started to, if not pull ahead, um, of that round at least. I feel like he put up a better a better fight in the third. Um, one of the judges scoring it for Usman, which is insane, absolutely insane how you could find 2 rounds for him. But the other 2 judges getting it right, scoring it a majority decision for Chimaev, who had a weird, heartfelt speech at the end of his win in English, and then said something a little bit different in Chechnyan. But look it up. I'm not going to talk about it on here because I don't know what sort of YouTube police are going to come after me. Um, I'm impartial. I will not. I will not. Yeah, let's edit that out. Um, lastly, on the card, we have Volkanovski and Makhachev round 2, or just 2. Volkanovski, obviously, an older dog at this point, coming in on 10, 12 days notice. 10, 12, either way, not enough. It was not enough. And we saw our hero. We saw our hero fall. Um, yeah, it was pretty sad. It was pretty sad. I see a lot of memes after the fact just saying this was like the saddest card in history, but there are probably some sadder ones out there. I can't I can't name them off the top of my head, but give me a day or two to reflect on it, and I can probably think of a sadder card than this. Albeit it was pretty heartfelt. Um, I did win a couple of bets though. Um, a few small ones. One I just parlayed Chimaev and Makhachev at like minus 170 or something like that. Even though Chimaev was minus 700 at the time, I might have caught it live, but yeah, yeah, I was pretty happy about that. But anyways, that was the UFC 90 UFC 294 card in a nutshell. We have no fights this coming Saturday. Uh, Apart from the little Ngannou Fury madness, which there are some bets. There's some bets out there where you can make some serious money. Um, I think it was like a plus 4,000 for Ngannou to get a knockout in the first 60 seconds. I think it was like a plus 1,700 or so for Ngannou to get a knockout in the first round. Um, Not terrible props to take. Understanding that Fury is probably gonna have his way with him, but um, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say because, of course, I mean, seeing the two of them together, like facing off, they're like Fury isn't that much bigger than him. Obviously, his skill surpasses Ngannou's skill level tenfold. You want to say tenfold, maybe more than that. Um, but Francis just has that power, you know. I feel like if Francis can connect with one, two, three shots of meaning, um, early, very early, I think it can maybe sway the fight. We know Fury can also recover like a fucking beast, but have we seen him try to recover from an Ngannou bomb? That's a no. That is a no. So it's tough to say what's going to happen here, but sorry for starting the video off on such a sad note. But if you've stuck around to the end, like or subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Might leave a link uh, for like a men's mental health foundation of sorts. Um, but yeah, if you can find any of Brian's fights online, go and look for him. He was a little firecracker, but yeah, I hope you guys had a lovely weekend and enjoy the UFC list weekend. Let me know what you guys are gonna get up to in the absence of UFC on Saturday. I know I'm probably gonna be doing some thumb twiddling. Apart from watching like the main event of Fury and Ganu, I don't see myself watching anything else. But let me know if there's anything going on that I'm maybe overlooking. But love you guys. Um, take care of yourselves, check in on your friends, and have a good night. All right. Love you guys.